Alright, hello everybody and welcome to KSP. So in this video we're going to be moving a rather large ship that I have in orbit to a higher orbit and more closer to minmus. You may be wondering, I'll explain why in the video, but as always, like, subscribe, maybe share this video to your friends, and I will see you in a little bit. Hello everybody and welcome back to KSP. Here is one of my major ships that I sent up here about 23 years ago. It's been sitting kind quietly in orbit. I recently returned two of the Kerbals, who I no longer needed, mainly because I wanted to use a docking port for something else. In this case, a lifeboat holds up to 4 people. Um, Two there, 4 there. There's enough room for everyone on that one. Saves me the trouble in the event something goes horribly wrong with this. Now, you may also be wondering, what does this thing do, and how are we going to get this from point A to point B? Well, we're sending this actually further out, to around there. You may be wondering why. Isn't that going to make refueling missions a lot significantly more difficult? Yeah, it is, but not for the reasons that are clear. I want to put this thing in orbit of minmus. Why? Because I want to set up a refueling station there, and having this near the orbit of minmus is going to make rendezvous with this craft significantly easier. Once I get the mining infrastructure up, the crew and personnel there, a station in orbit to manage traffic to and from the surface. We're going to be putting this down roughly in the sort of plateau areas, I guess. Areas that don't have too much hilly terrain. We have a small pre-existing facility on the surface there. I have not been there in a while. I will say that much. I'm gonna edit action groups here. We are gonna need some extra. Okay, can I? Yeah. Toggle engine. What did I set it as? Oh, I have to be careful how long I use those engines for. You may be wondering why. Why are we only using 3? Toggle engine. Okay. We're turning these bad boys on. I'm gonna be real with you. I haven't fired those engines in such a long time. I wasn't sure if those, like, if this had been like actual time, if this hadn't been fired for that long in space, I don't know if those would have ever started up again. Oh, hold on. That's right. I have infinite fuel on. Hold on. Forgot I had that on. I needed it because I was running into an issue docking this, and I had to do so many passes that this would have not docked otherwise, and I didn't want to have to restart an entire run just to make it work. Sacrificing a little bit of oxidizer here isn't a bad thing. Just if it eats too much oxidizer that it becomes a bad thing. This thing's basically a skyscraper in orbit. I'm just saying. Getting this thing into... I forget how I know that I had to do this. I managed to get the other thing up in orbit, the other one up in orbit. I teleported that thing over to Eve because I needed something in orbit over there. I had an original tending station over there, but that had been up there for so long that the Kraken was starting to eat at it, so I had to replace it. I thought, why not replace it with something bigger? So I did. This is sandbox save, so I'm free to play this however I like. But there is an in-lore reason why I can do that specifically with this craft only, and larger crafts that I don't discuss often. The save's almost 3-4 years old, so there's quite a bit of lore to this. See, we're time warping over. Only could get this into orbit of Minmus. I'd like to, but I think this is a good area to have a stopping off point between Minmus and Kerbin. For major burns, we have these. Now this wasn't intended for No, we're perfectly fine as is. We don't need to do any correction burns or anything. Its fuel carrying capacity is actually halved if I'm using those because the oxidizer this has a limited amount, but we will be doing something about that pretty soon here. Electric charge isn't an issue here. It's very much a cool piece of equipment, and frankly, the engineering behind this, me making this, was time consuming. This has 2 OA shuttles, specifically they're Serenity class. I don't remember why I called them that, but they are Serenity class. If I look at the actual craft file for this specific craft, it is called the Serenity class, so that's what I'm going to go with here. This is the X1. There's another version. It's a newer gen. It carries 3 Serenity class and doesn't have room for the lifeboat. I will be explaining why there isn't room for a lifeboat on there because I've correctly counted the crew and accounted for everyone so they can use each of the shuttle and evacuate in an emergency. So I didn't need, and the old shuttle thing that was attached to here kept glitching in the VAB for some reason. I don't remember the exact reason why that bug was happening, but it was. This thing is very big, very heavy, very complex. Let's just orbit. Let's complete a few orbits here and see. Man, this thing has a pretty long orbit now. That makes it easier to get to, really. It means it won't go anywhere too fast. She's a slow mover. She turns and takes her time, but with any craft of this size, you'd expect nothing less. These are more for system defense. They're not meant to go. Like, I'm going to be having a mining outpost at Gilly, which is why I have one of these things at Eve. They're just little patrol craft, really. They're not meant to go between planets, really. In lore, they do have some kind of a jump drive, which is not really an excuse for me to use the set orbit thing, but it does give me access to that in this playthrough, where otherwise this wouldn't be able to go places very, very often. Almost 200 days. This thing's insane, though. This is all the crew sections, by the way. There's no up and down in space, so having them stuck to the sides is one of the ways I've managed to get it to work. As you can see, this is a crew section here. There's solar panels on this. This does have an RTG in it. Radioisotopic thermoelectric generator. There is that provides some power to it, auxiliary power. That's this little nuclear engine. It gets 2,000 meters of delta V through that nuclear engine, and it has a actually okay TWR. It's 0.5, but for a nuclear engine, that's decent. This craft, so I'm going to be versioning to a similar, probably actually beginning the next version, the X2 version. I'm going to be bringing back this docking port, having it moved a little bit further up, and then having these thingies planted around it. This is mostly solar powered, by the way. These panels provide enough power that it allows me to do these things. But yeah, this is these, I have two of these. There's slightly different variants. I'm gonna have to make the X2 variant's gonna go back to this older one a little bit, so we're gonna see how that goes pretty soon here. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed watching me get this behemoth out into a more distant orbit, and I will see you in the next one. All right, so I did say that I was gonna put this up into an orbit with minmus. I decided not to, but the reasoning behind that was if I put it close enough to minmus, I would have had more opportunities to make um, rendezvous points. Um, um, to this larger spacecraft. Now, I didn't want to have this directly in orbit of minmus for a few reasons. One, I don't remember the orbits of other objects around minmus very well. It has been a while since I played it, so I know I'm doing this after a video, and now you get to see what I do with my editor. You can just see that I have quite a bit of work to do. This is pretty much the entire video here. Um, Anyways, so we're gonna start putting up infrastructure around minmus and on minmus. I'm gonna have to figure out creative ways to go about doing that because I do not have a whole lot of launch vehicles capable of doing that right now. So I'm gonna be having to experiment here and there. Thankfully, I have MechJeb to fly around, and if that, and I know for a fact that if that's not able to get the stuff to where I need it to go, then I need to either add more fuel or add more engines. So yeah. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Um, Tune in next time for more of this. If the next time I upload a Kerbal System video, please don't hesitate to tune in to it because yeah, I want to have more returning viewers on my channel, not just new viewers. So yeah, why not grow the Durg army? And I will see you in the next one.